Robin Gagnon.
And I'm Eric Gagnon, and we sell restaurants. We started the nation's largest restaurant brokerage firm, We Sell Restaurants, over a decade ago. You can find us online at WeSellRestaurants.com.
We're also on your radio once a week with the leading authorities in this industry talking about subjects trending in the restaurant business. Tweet your own questions on our topic while we're on the air to our Twitter handle, Sell Restaurants, or post them on our Facebook page, Facebook.com/We Sell Restaurants. If we don't get to your question, don't worry. We'll follow up with you on social media.
Our goal is to satisfy your appetite for acquisition, feed the need for restaurant reality, and serve up a recipe for business success. If you have ideas for our show or comments, email me. My email address is simple. It's Eric, E-R-I-C, at WeSellRestaurants.com. Today's show is focusing on technology in the restaurant industry.
Today's show focuses on that new technology being used in the business. What changes are being made to connect owners with their consumers? It seems that restaurants are challenged with the changing technological market on a daily basis, and they are trying to keep up with our society's evolving trends. We're going to explore many of those new technologies being used by restaurants to improve their business.
And we got some great guests for you today. We are joined today by Larry Abramson. Larry Abramson is the Chief Executive Officer of Redbook Connect and also serve on the Board of Directors. Larry provides strategic direction and business guidance for the company, including the integration of multiple technology solutions into one integrated platform. Prior to joining Red Rock Connect, Larry was a Senior Vice President and General Manager of Oracle Advanced Customer Services, which he led to more than $1 billion, that's billion, in revenues. Larry also had senior leadership positions at USinternetworking, Appshop and Arthur Andersen. In 2004, Larry was named Entrepreneur of the Year by Dorado Ventures for his work with Appshop as a CEO. Larry, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to join you.
Okay, and we're also joined by Geoffrey Simpson and Adi Baton. Mr. Simpson is the founder of Moxie Software and the creator of several successful products, including Diner Connection, Connected to Us, and ShuttleQ. Geoffrey's creations have been noticed by the Wall Street Journal, Mashable.com, FastCompany.com, Microsoft.com, and Restaurant Business Magazine. Wow, what a resume. Moxie Software received the Innovator of the Year award in 2011 for Diner Connection from the Journal Record, and Geoffrey received recognition as a Tulsa 40 Under 40, also in 2011. He currently serves on the Board of Trustees for the Oklahoma School of Science and Mathematics. He is the first alumni to do so, and he is president of the Oklahoma School of Science and Mathematics Alumni Association. Ms. Baton founded OwnerListens.com because of her passion for helping local businesses and providing great customer service. She believes both business owners and customers benefit from communicating directly through listens, instead of exchanging those public flows online. With her partner, she designed an app that makes it super easy for consumers to send a private message to businesses. Businesses can respond in real time, solve the problem, and regain the customer. A big believer in giving back, Adi mentors student entrepreneurs at Stanford University, StartX, and UpWest Labs, Silicon Valley-based incubator. She specializes in customer development and lean startup methodologies. Geoffrey, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
And Adi as well. Thank you for being on board this morning.
Well, pleasure to be here.
Okay, so we've got a great group of individuals, and I just want to start by just saying this. You know, today's technology environment, we have some restaurant owners that are still struggling with their cell phones, but we're seeing so many different media solutions. What are the current trends in technology you see that have a direct impact on the business? Larry, you want to take that first?
Sure, I'm happy to do that. So what we're seeing is a significant move to mobile in restaurants. So Redbook Connect, many restaurants use our products. We have over 130,000 restaurants using our software worldwide. And what we saw in the software we write is that although restaurants relate to the cloud in general, they've been very fast to adopt mobile and mobile technologies. And you see it today, whether it's on the revenue side, bringing new customers into the restaurant, or on the back of the house side, managing the operations of the restaurant, hiring, training, scheduling, etc. Just the simple things like the way restaurants schedule has changed radically in the last 10 years. Now, basically, the entire operation is using mobile phones to schedule, trade shifts, communicate. It's a way that the restaurateur can interact with employees, and that franchises, even corporate entities, can interact with their say mobile is, for us, one of the biggest things impacting the restaurant industry today.
Good. And Geoffrey, what's your take on the same thing?
I'm going to agree with Larry on that one, and what we have seen is really an increase in the ability to communicate both with your employees inside the restaurant and the organization, and an increase in communication with your customers. And so mobile's a big part of that, and having the ability to communicate with them wherever they're at and on whatever time frame that happens to be on.
And Ms. Baton, Adi, I'm sorry. Let's just be casual here. Adi, let's talk about that customer consumer owner relationship. Why is it so important for owners to connect with those restaurant customers in real time?
So I think it's definitely the case that mobile has been a big change in the restaurant industry. The second trend that I would point out is the rise of social media and review sites. And the combination of those two things means that consumers have a mobile phone at their fingertips, so every time they want to know something about your restaurant or they want to say something about your restaurant, they can immediately, with a few clicks, get their word out there to thousands and thousands of people. And so it is up to the restaurant owner to stay in front of that and be able to help control the conversation and move the conversation in a direction that is beneficial for business. I think that trend is only going to get bigger and bigger. Generational shifts as well as mobile phone penetration dictate that restaurant owners have to be more in tune with their customers and certainly more real time. The Twitter generation, does not wait for you to check your email. It expects 2 to 5 second delay between when they write something and they get a response. It's certainly a challenge.
And we're all into that immediate gratification. I mean, we are in that mode of we hit click and we want somebody to respond right that minute. And it's critical for restaurant owners to do that because in the moment someone's irritated because their waiter is taking too long. Well, they'll just go and slam you on social media right away and blurt that out to the world where they would normally turn to their person at dinner and say, gosh, I can't believe my food is taking so long. They go, gosh, I can't believe my food is taking so long, and hit send, and it's going to 1,000 people instead of a person 5 feet away. Anybody want to weigh in on that?
Sure, and what we've seen and what Diner Connection is good at is starting that communication with the customer even before they get to the restaurant. And so they could, for instance, text in that they are on their way to the restaurant and get on the waiting list. And what that does is start that communication in between the restaurant and the customer themselves. And once that communication starts, you're able to communicate with that customer in real time through a private channel, which in our case is text messaging. And so starting that communication and keeping that communication and being real time is really important, and that keeps the customers engaged. And the more engaged the customers are, the better chance you have of turning them into regular customers and returning customers. And of course, that increases your bottom line.
Because the flip side is true too, because you can create raving fans out there talking about your business, correct?
Yeah, that's exactly right. If you do respond within a couple seconds or a couple minutes to a customer request or a customer note, they are wowed by it, and then that can lead to positive word of mouth. And we see that happen all the time, where consumers send messages through our platform, and the owner responds immediately, even if they're not on site at the restaurant. And they're so wowed, they go to Twitter or Facebook and say, "Oh, I just got the most amazing customer service from this restaurant owner." And guess what? It was the actual owner who got back to me. Wow. So certainly there is a flip side that is a bit positive for restaurant owners who are proactive and get on board with this new technology.
Thank you, Dave. Good answer here, Adi. Larry, your platform provides restaurant a mobile solution to manage their business. And now Adi just talked about owners that are in the restaurant or out of the restaurants. Is this beneficial for both an owner-operator, because we see a lot more multi-unit operators, in the franchise world and everything. Could this be good for an absentee owner as well as an on-site operator, the platform?
Absolutely. So first of all, I think this topic that all the guests are talking about is spot on. And that when you talk about interacting with customers and bringing them into a restaurant, our view is that there's really two phases to that. There's the social side where you attract the customer to your restaurant, And then there's that moment where you have the next best offer with that customer, meaning the synthesis of what's that customer's preference and what's important for the restaurant today. So, for example, if the restaurant, for example, is long on tuna, they really want to attract customers in who like tuna, who want tuna salad or sashimi, etc. And then you would be able to present to that customer in real time, an offer for tuna or to incent them to have tuna. And that's for us, that's what we see happening in real time. And to make that happen, to your point, you have to combine the data that we have in our cloud behind the point of sale. But behind the point of sale, that's where we're tracking, how much chicken is selling versus steak, Coke versus Pepsi. All of the dynamics that are happening in the restaurant in inventory and on the recipe side. A lot of the things that challenger restaurants for, by putting them in the cloud, it allows the owner-operator to manage their business very effectively and systematically. For an owner that may spend less time at the store, they can get a real-time data stream on their mobile device through our cloud, through the Redbook Connect cloud, and they can literally see every single keystroke happening on their point-of-sale device, whether that point-of-sale device is a traditional point-of-sale provided by some of the large industry vendors, or a modern point-of-sale, written by some great entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley or elsewhere that might run on an iPad or an iPhone or an Android device. And so it really provides tremendous insight and transparency to restaurant operations.
So I envision this day where an old school restaurant operator might get up and go, oh my gosh, I'm going to kill my chef. I just looked at the deliveries and he ordered 3 times as much chicken as we need. And by the way, my bartender and my sous chef just called in sick, as well as 2 of my wait staff, and I don't have all the ingredients for this special of the day. He can then start through a mobile device, begin managing through those problems. Like, boom, here's a text message, who needs extra shifts, problem solved, the schedule is covered. Next step, okay, I've got extra chicken and I don't have these ingredients. Here's a new recipe sent out to the staff. They begin to execute it simultaneously. He text messages it to the staff and says, okay, we're pushing this chicken dinner and we got to work through this, and here's the incentive, and whoever sells the most at the end of the night gets something. So his problems are instantly managed through this platform.
Yes, ma'am. And it's actually, we're delivering on that today in the Redbook Cloud. So if you're using, for example, our scheduling system, Hot Schedules, we have over 1.2 million restaurant employees using that product alone right now today to check their schedule on their mobile device on average 4 times a day. If you're that owner operator and say your sous chef didn't come in and 2 dishwashers, it immediately blinks up on your mobile device or on your computer. You hit a button and it creates a spot market basically in our Redbook Connect network. And you can now draw people from that network who already use Redbook Connect, who have their E-Verify done and their background screening and their I-9 and fall in our system. And you can go through that process, a typical process, because that repeats itself in restaurants all over the world every morning. You come in and you're understaffed in some way. You've got your example, these folks didn't come in, or you've got these other issues with chicken or steak, and you can manage all of that real time.
This is great because I remember 3 years ago as a restaurant worker, we have a lot of conversation with our clients about food costs, labor costs, and various things, and they ask us, what do you see out there? Because we see so many different restaurants every day. And 3 years ago, I said that to one of our clients, what we're heading is towards more real-time inventory management. And they look at me like I was like from Mars. And here we are 3 years later, almost to the day, talking with guests on our radio show about real-time food inventory. And I'm so glad to hear that. I'm so excited that it's coming because it will really help the industry be better at, because it is a penny business. We all know that every penny counts in this business. And if you can manage a few more pennies on your inventory, that's more to the bottom line. So that is so refreshing. And how is the marketplace incorporating these new technologies? Should restaurant owners be concerned about being behind in technology? Adi, what are your thoughts on that?
So I think certainly the main comment to Larry's point is many restaurant owners do not possess a smartphone and are not able to take advantage of all these great opportunities technology has presented to us. So I think the modern restaurant owner, to survive, will have to move to a smartphone, learn how to use apps, learn how to text both employees and consumers. This is imperative and no longer just a nice to have. Otherwise, you will fall behind from other restaurant owners.
So, Geoffrey, Adi just mentioned apps, and I know that's a big piece of your core business. Tell me about some of the apps out there that, let's just pretend our listeners haven't hard on top of which apps are most important to them. What are the key things that people should have on their mobile phone if they're an operator and if they're a consumer?
I am not a big fan of apps for the consumer market because I believe that when you're dealing with the consumers, you should try to target the lowest common denominator. And so when you're looking at the owner-operator of a restaurant, there's certainly the applications like Larry was mentioning with the operations of the business, with the real-time inventory, and the staffing levels, and the financials as well. What I like to have the restaurant owners, operators look at is ways to affect their bottom lines, and those are the things that are important to them, and how do they manage that. And I don't have any specific apps, and I do think from the consumer side, the recommendation apps and the social networks like the Yelp and Urban Spoon, those are the ones that people are generally gravitating towards. But when you're interacting between the restaurant and the customer, I think you want to keep that at the social media level, or the text messaging level, or the email level.
Right, right. Let's follow up on that question because you said something about working with the restaurant owners. Let's talk a little bit about cost. We deal with a lot of multi-unit owners and lots of franchisors, but we also deal with that mom-and-pop business. Can small restaurants afford the technology, some of the things that we're discussing today? And maybe each one of you want to weigh in on that. Geoffrey, you want to take it first?
Sure, and my specialty, my product Diner Connection, is a waitlist solution that sends out a text message when the customer's tables are ready. And the space that we're in is we're replacing the traditional buzzer pagers. And so our pricing model is better than the pager model because of the loss and theft of pagers in the initial startup. So we're at a lower price than the pagers, and so that's our traditional competition. And so in my view, the technology is enabling the restaurants to lower their costs. And so that, of course, increases revenue, and that's kind of the goal of what I think the goal of the technology is to increase the communication with your customers and your employees and to reduce costs. And so I think that has to be a focus, and that's the reason why it is successful both in the chain restaurants and in the mom-and-pop restaurants.
And you also increase the range, if I'm not mistaken, right? Because I mean, with this pager or whatever beer poster type pager, you can only 10 feet away from the restaurant, where if I'm in the mall, I can go back to do my shopping, and when my phone gets a text, I can just rush back to the restaurant and get my table, right?
Absolutely, and we're having great success in that area with mall restaurants, tourist areas, to where, my example is I was in Hawaii and I couldn't go to Waikiki Beach when I was a block away because I had a coaster pager. And so that is a great selling point and a great reason to move to text messaging instead of the coaster pagers.
Okay, no one's going to feel sorry for you because you didn't get to Waikiki Beach. I just want to throw that out there.
What about, do you have recommendations for somebody starting? I mean, the mom and pop are always the one, says, I can't afford this, I don't even want to look at it. How do they start? I mean, there's a mountains of things out there. When you talk technology, I know in our mailbox at the office or most of our clients, I mean, you get so many advertising, online, hard copies, everything. Where do you start, and what should you budget, kind of stuff like that?
So I think it comes down to two separate categories. One is operations improvement, which is the kind of apps that Geoffrey was talking about, is where you replace a very expensive coaster pager with text messaging. Clearly, that's an operational saving. But the part where I think restaurant owners, particularly mom and pops, get caught up in is managing the consumer-facing social media review site world, and online marketing in general. That's a cost center. That is something that's going to cost you more than it did in the past, because you still have to do all your traditional channels. There's still potential people who come in from that coupon they got in the mail, but now you also have to manage a Facebook page and Urban Spoon and Yelp and TripAdvisor and et cetera, et cetera. We actually have a list of over 40 places where your restaurant might be reviewed. So that fragmentation creates an extra operational cost on the business owner, and we'll see more and more of them having to hire or set aside specific resources to deal with that environment. And so I think you have to think about, how do I manage that? What kind of software do I use to monitor everything that's being said about my business everywhere? And that's certainly going to be an extra cost that businesses are not aware of. Many of them not monitor their online reputation, at least not enough. They'll look it up once a month, where we just mentioned this is a real-time world. So what we're trying to create, especially for those moms and pops, is kind of the simplest solution possible. We've made it free for anybody that has under 10 locations, and our thesis is, if we can get all consumers on one platform where they would send a message, a private message, kind of before you Yelp ask for help to the business owner, then we can reduce the power of those fragmented review sites and bring the power back to the business owner. Of course, it's not going to be easy. It requires kind of an industry coming together and saying, wait a minute, there are a bunch of things here we can't deal with, or we have to find a better way to deal with this online fragmentation. So I think for a restaurant owner, they have to, as they start planning out, they have to make two columns. One is that kind of operational cost. What do I need to keep the business rolling once the person already comes in? And then the online marketing, the digital media, the online reputation monitoring that is going to be part of their business where it wasn't before. Certainly a big, big challenge.
Okay, so Larry, I'm assuming that if we asked you the same question, you're going to say the technology everyone needs is Red Connect. And we only have a couple of seconds, so give me like a 10-second spiel on it.
Well, we're talking about a broad set of things, and we believe in open systems and in partnering with great firms like you have online. So we definitely don't do everything. We do a set of things really well in the cloud and on mobile devices. And I think from a pricing perspective, things have become very affordable today.
Okay.
Instead of buying. Yeah.
I'm sorry. We're going to go into a hard break now, and I just want to make sure we have time to completely cover this topic when we come back, because we have really some excellent guests on this particular segment. You're listening to We Sell Restaurants. This is Eric and Robin Gagnon, the restaurant brokers. We are the industry leaders in restaurants for sale, franchise restaurant resales, and site location for the food service industry. Stay tuned as We Sell Restaurants continues after the break, and we discuss technology with our guest panel.